Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to make a review about a gouache. This gouache is from Talens, and as you have seen, this is pretty much different than the usual Royal Talens gouache extra fine that you may already know before. This gouache came from the same Royal Talens, but it's not a professional grade. It's a student grade gouache, and this is also my first time using a gouache, so this will be a first impression slash review, and probably I'll learn a lot from here. But I have to remind you before that I'm not a professional in gouache area, so I may make a lot of mistake. If you know better techniques for gouache, please do let me know. I think gouache is very tricky because it looks like watercolor, but it works differently than watercolor. It's like the twins, but it's not twins. They are good sisters, siblings. I think in the beginning I made a lot of mistake. I put too much water inside the paint, and that's why it doesn't really opaque as I intended it to be. However, it cannot really be like covering all of those black lines. So and I also try to drag it along with the uh, water to see how it performs. I think that among all of this color, the burnt sienna works really well, and especially the black and white one is also works really well. But the yellow, I made a lot of effort to make it work, but it's still not that opaque for me. Later, I found out that using a ceramic palette actually will work better. I can use an old ceramic plate that I have in my house. It works really well. I think the paints actually stick too much to the plastic palette, and that's why it doesn't really perform that well. But after this video, I tried to play again with the gouache, and I think that ceramic plate is the better and best way to use gouache. You can see that I tried to paint again and again on top of the gouache, because I heard that you can put more and more, and well, it can, but it doesn't look that vibrant as I wanted it to be. it's really funny how I see gouache again and again because it looks really like watercolor, and if I water it down it can work like a watercolor. However, even though it looks like watercolor, it still looks different. It's not as transparent. I actually used a lot of what trying to make it like I use watercolor, but I forgot that this is not a watercolor. This is a gouache, and it's just really interesting. So I just tried my best to make this ice cream matcha illustration. So I hope you like it. I think that trying out a new art supplies is always a very fun moment for me because I don't know what to expect from it, and I can always learn something new every time I use a new art supplies like this one. I also heard that Holbein gouache is very good. However, looking for it is pretty hard here, and because I'm still new in gouache, I don't really want to spend a lot of money. Actually, I want to try more with this cheap gouache because if I made a mistake I wouldn't feel very guilty about it. All in all, I think that this is a very good starter if you wanted to start on gouache. I think it performs really well. The color is very vibrant. It doesn't look like a cheap paint that usually works really hard. A note to myself that this is not a watercolor, so I should treat it differently than watercolor, but I always try to make it like a watercolor, and I think that's my fault, and I think I will have to learn more how to use this gouache, which I will do because I really like this and I actually quite like the result, and probably in the future I will post more of my art using gouache instead of watercolor. I think that mixing media is very fun to do. I usually mixes my watercolor with Copic. Not that I'm using my Copic with water, but after I painted everything with watercolor, I will use Copic on top of it. So probably next time I can use watercolor and then I finished with gouache. But it's an idea in the future, and I hope that you will be able to stay here. You can click subscribe and like this video, and I will come back in the future with a new art video. Thank you. Goodbye.